It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today. I am B-Ron. Alongside me, as always, is my co-host Yells. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Pleasure to be here with you.
Mike. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
Hump
Hump day.
day.
You remember that commercial?
You.
There we
I
go.
do.
Good morning,
I
man.
do remember that commercial, but I love it. That one lives rent free in my head, man. I swear. Every time without fail. I'll hear it immediately. Same thing with the caveman one. Anyway. Anyway, man. Look, we got a lot of things to get through this morning, so let's go ahead. Let's get started. Gabe Pope. There's no more Trey Turner over there in Southeast Select. We know that. So the question is Gabe ready for a big role this season? Is he ready to put himself in that top tier of players here in SimWorld Prep? Because right now, personally, I think he's on the cusp of being in that discussion. He did show a lot of good things last season, especially on the defense side of the ball, and especially during the race to one. So he's like right there for me on that top tier level of player in SimWorld Prep as far as the defensive player goes. So for me, I definitely think that he's ready for the big role, and I think that he will get there as the season goes on.
Yeah, I'm not there. I'm not sold. And I guess I'll start with this is what's funny is before we talk about, our perspective here from an analyst standpoint, when it comes to
Yep.
players, it's funny because when the conversation comes up and people are inserting themselves in conversations about other people and these players, what are the numbers? They won't break down some numbers. Oh, he averaged this or he did this. But when it comes to themselves or their friends or somebody they may have, an affinity for some kind of relationship, then it's, oh, the potential or what I know what I'm capable of. Which one is it, man? We gonna talk numbers or we gonna talk about potential?
Yeah.
Say all that to say when I look at Gabe Pope, I think Gabe Pope is going to be a phenomenal player in college. I think he's going to be an even greater talent playing a particular role in the SWBA.
Yep.
But here at the SimWorld Prep, I think he plays a great role too. But to call him upper echelon, top tier, I'm not there. His offensive bag is not good enough. Are we saying that Gabe Pope fits right there alongside Jafet Towns, Cooper Flagg, and Dylan Harper? Is that what we're saying? Because I'm not saying it. What I will say is his defense is dogged. His defense impacts a game alone. He makes such a great impact. He also, conversely, on the other end of that, he's a great passer. So I'll take someone like Kawhi Leonard in the finals back in the day. Kawhi Leonard did not get notoriety for being one of the top tier players until in the finals he put the clamps, and he was always considered a top defender, but that didn't put him in top of the league discussions.
Yeah.
It did not until he put the clamps on Braun in the finals on the biggest stage and
Yep.
gave buckets. The buckets
Yep.
goes with it. I'm a defense first guy. I'll go ahead and put that. Everyone that knows me knows that I'm all about defense. But realistically, you can't be top tier unless you go get buckets with the absolute best of them. And I mean absolute best. 8 points a game last season, almost 4 assists, a steal. He shot 39%. I haven't seen anything in the offseason that said he goes from 8 points a game to 22 plus. And that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, no, I get you. I definitely get where you're coming from, and I think that's why I worded it the way that I did. I feel like he's there when it comes to the defense side of the ball. Yeah, um, but I do think that he will need to work more offensively on his game to get to that point. But that's why I said I feel like over the course of the season we'll see it happen. But I'm not ready to say it right now. As of this moment, no. But over the course of the season, as things develop, as he continues to show, maybe he does show more of an offensive game, and he does take a jump from, let's say, 8 to 19, or if you want to say 20, 22, whatever. But I think you have to, like you said, you have to show it uh, in that regard first before we get to a point where we can say, yeah, he's a top tier player. He's got one part of his game that's there, and that's the defensive side and the passing side. We both agree on that. But the offensive side of it, not there just yet. Got to take a little more steps to get there. But I believe that as season goes on, we'll see him start to progress that up to where it needs to be. Do I think it'll be Trey Turner levels? No, absolutely not. But I think that it'll be good enough to where we can look at everything as a whole package and say, yeah, Gabe's in a better spot now than he was when he started the season, and he leaves SimWorld Prep as a top as one of those top tier players who can go on to a big school and play a contributing role there, if not in his freshman season, maybe sophomore season, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong. Before we leave this topic here, I do want to say, Gabe
Yeah,
Pope is an man, I love this game. I think I may have been the first one to say, and maybe I'm putting it on thick here, but I was right there to say, man, look at the progression he's made in the offseason offensively, and I think we're going to see an uptick with no Trey Turner holding him back, where he gets to be more of a
yeah,
focus. But there's still dudes on, like, when we talk about this, everyone's like, I guess they're only seeing particular players on the team, or people only see what they want to see, right? That's an actual psychological fact. Let's
yep,
not forget, they got Brick Backer, they got Coco Bryce, they brought in Olvin Carballo, they got Dexter Jackson, bucket getting Dexter Jackson, and Jeremiah Dishman. Gabe Pope is not guaranteed to be the centerpiece of the offense when you have that kind of talent around him. Those guys deserve and will get the ball. So, and Coach Lee runs a pretty balanced offense where everybody gets their opportunities and no one gets to dominate. The only reason Trey Turner got to dominate in the way he did is because every shot he put up was worth 3 instead of 2.
and
If they were
it went
worth
in
2
right
points,
time
he
for
would have
fight.
averaged 14 points a game also.
Yeah. Very, very true. Look, I can't argue there, man. Look, talking about someone who has potential to get somewhere versus someone who's proven it in the past and now has to, uh, I guess, prove it again at a different level, so to speak. There's an old saying, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you." What if the hand is yourself, though? Because Rosante Vance, he he's the owner of Lakeshore Drive. He's a former head coach, and now he's taking and pulling double duty as the owner and head coach of Lakeshore Drive. Just go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you had something to say. Go ahead.
Nah, I don't have a whole lot to say. Number one, I like the moxie he's coming out with, man. What can I say about it? He's where he should be shutting the hell up. That's what a owner does. But he's also the coach, and where a coach probably should be toning it down quite a bit. This guy's like, hey, I got a lot to say. You gonna like? I'm not ducking anything. Is what I saw the comment was like. I'm not.
Yeah.
He's saying it all, but who fires him? I think we've seen through the whole Lovelace situation that he has a very big ego, rightfully so or not. The ego's there. So unless his team performs abysmally, I think we're looking at him being the coach and the owner for some time, unless he has some other business obligations. Why would he step down? So if he doesn't deliver on his promises, who reprimands him? Him?
He's
He's
got
in
no
the
one to
mirror
blame.
having that
Yeah.
double conversation like Will Ferrell. Nah, I can't see it.
I don't know, man, but like, do you think he's bitten off more than he can chew though, pulling that kind of double duty? Because that I don't know what goes into being an owner of a basketball team, especially at the prep level, regardless of what level it is. But I feel like there's a lot that goes on, and trying to manage that side, and also being a coach too. That's got to be incredibly stressful. And I'm not saying he can't handle it. I'm not saying that. I don't know the guy personally. But I did get a chance, speak to him a little bit while doing the Follow the Money series. But I don't know him, if that makes sense. So to me, it's one of those things of like, I'm concerned in that regard.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know him either. I can tell you from my dabblings in the business field and what I do, I can imagine that there's not a whole lot of hands-on experience he has to have on the owner side for the team itself. He probably has some fiduciary responsibilities that are on particular dates, but outside of that, I'm sure whatever business dealings he has are outside of it. So his availability to the team is probably what I'm concerned with. But he's been a coach before, so he knows
Yeah.
what it demands and what the responsibility level is of a coach for daily activity, engagement, communication with your team. So I'm
Mhm.
sure we'll find out here as the season ramps up one way or another, because these players definitely make it known when it's not the case.
Yeah, that's true, that's true, and we'll see too how his players respond to his comments as well, because we've seen it before with previous coaches here in SimWorld Prep that if the players respond well to those kinds of things and, that fuels them with a sort of moxie confidence that, you would like to see that kinda stuff, so, hey, man, we'll see how it all goes, and you spoke about availability a second ago. Talk about one of the other A's. That's accountability. Accountability is a big deal, man. I feel like, and and this is something that I think from a fan perspective is one that always intrigues me. And what I mean by that is this: when you are a fan of a team and you're talking about your team and if they played well, played poorly, if the rest got out of the way, that kind of stuff, whatever might happen in a game, you get a bad call late in the game, the team goes down and they don't score. All the fans are gonna talk about is the bad call that happened. We lost because of the bad call. Like, no, no, we didn't. The bad call didn't help, but the team itself, the players on the field, the coaches still had a job to do. They still had to go and make the play to get the touchdown to win the game, whatever it is. So like accountability is one of those things that it's hard to deal with, I think, for a lot of people.
So, and I guess it depends on which side of the coin you're talking about. From a fan's perspective, clearly they have no accountability. They have no need to have any accountability. They don't have any accountability. As a fan, you can say whatever you want, back it up, retract from it at any point in time, and even furthermore, you can just argue a whole different point to get yourself out of it. Nobody really has accountability where they can accept responsibility for their actions. And as a fan, they have no need to. As a fan,
No,
you
but
can
no,
literally
no, no,
walk back
no,
with it.
you're right. You're right, but I think my point more so in that is to say that, like, you may not have accountability as a fan, but you should be able to look at the situation and say to yourself, "This is really what happened." It's not just about this one thing, if that makes sense. It's not about the bad call. It's about everything else that happened prior to and after the bad call to get to that point. So that's where that accountability comes in and putting it on the players to get it done and not putting the blame on someone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so from a player standpoint, absolutely. From all other standpoints, but I do think that's something that comes. That's the whole reason for a prep league like this, is to prepare kids for what it actually is. As a
Mhm.
kid, you don't really have any perception of big picture other than immediate, right? And that's a lot of adults struggle with that right now. I try. That's like trying to get my wife to argue using facts and logic instead of her emotion. It don't happen that way. So people look at things in a vacuum. Their level of perception is the only thing they want to blame it on, so that they're not at fault. But the only way that you grow is from seeing what went wrong, right? Assessing
Right.
where you could have done better and grown from there. So that's the whole point of a prep league like this, and that's a lot on the coach to say, "Hey, you're great, you're good, man. Yeah, there was an error, but here's how it can be improved." So that
Mhm.
accountability is what allows these kids to grow. A lack of accountability makes you a really good player. It puts you in a Kyrie Irving kind of situation. I won't get in that because I have my thoughts that may differ from a lot of people on Kyrie. I'm a big fan of things he's done on and off the court. But from a media standpoint, a lack of accountability puts you in those Kyrie Irving situations. They put you in those Gilbert Arenas situations where you're one of the greatest talents, but you're no longer in the league. I mean, he's old
Yeah.
as hell now, but
I mean, yeah.
where some of these players
I know what you
were
mean.
skilled, but they're not in the league. And I think there was a message that went out in all the chats on the server, which was exciting stuff. Where Giannis had made a comment about there's more than just skill that it takes to get to be a great player. Accountability is one of those things because it's the only thing that allows you to grow. So absolutely key. Great point. Great topic there, B. Ron.
Yeah, yeah, you got it. No problem. No problem. Happy to help, man.
So
Yeah.
247. Or no, excuse me. Look, I'm moving a little fast here. Gotham 5.
All good.
Gotham 5. We gave Showtime a lot of grief early on. We gave Showtime basketball some grief a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then look out of the woodworks. Coach Joyner wants to join us. Cole Webb's on the show. We get an influx of guys from the team that we're able to have a talk with. So they kind of show up on the scene. Maybe still no huge moves, but they still have some roster spots to fill. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent. But on the other end of that, let's go all the way to the other coast. Gotham 5, the other main market in the United States, we haven't heard a lot from them. It's all quiet on the front, man. Is everything okay out in Gotham B Run? What's happening?
Man, I it's a weird spot because looking at that team from last season, you could say a lot of things about that team, and I think the biggest thing is that they didn't live up to their expectations. I think most people would say that they had a lot of pieces there. They had 4 players averaging 10 or more points per game. One of them being Mackenzie Mbako. Um, but they had a lot of talent last season, and they didn't quite get where they wanted to be. I don't think. Um, and then looking at the turnover from last season to this one, it kind of has you a little concerned looking at their roster in terms of like do they have a number one? Because over the past few seasons, we've seen Gotham have a number one option or someone who you thought was a number one option. Uh, be it Che King in the Ground Zero season, or again someone like Mackenzie Mbako, who for all intents and purposes probably should have been the number one option, but didn't quite get up to the hot start that most were expecting him to. This season, who is that? Is it Majere Williams? Is it Mugen? Is it one of the returning players, or is it a new player like Woodbury or Carter Cash? Who is that? Who is that person for them? Do they even need a number one? That's a topic of another day, more so. But I'm rambling.
Yeah, no, I mean, so for me, I think they've been a victim of a couple things on a couple different on the first 2 seasons. Season 1, I think Che King was the clear cut number one on the team, obviously bucket getter, and they also had the young guy, I forget his name, who did not deliver, and some of the bigs had to step in with CMJ and man, look, I'm losing track of our guys in the middle. SJO and CMJ had to step in the middle because he wasn't getting it done. And then last year, everybody expected Mackenzie Mbako to be super aggressive and a few other players to do some things, and it didn't happen that way. So we saw it done kind of by committee. In my opinion, I think them not having a bona fide person that comes into the season where the media and everyone expects them to be a number one, that I think it plays to their advantage. Keontae Dior has been severely overlooked and underplayed by this team for 2 seasons. I expect to see him get off this year. Carter Cash is incredibly talented. Kel McKnight has some of the greatest handles I've ever seen. This Bruno John Misty kid can get to the rack, and Majere is a proven scorer. I think they got bucket getters. I think there's just less pressure to put all of it on one player this season. So I think they're going to be all right. I want to hear more noise out of Gotham, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm originally from New York. Where's the talk at, man? I need to hear it. Y'all so quiet. It's like church mouses out here. Did I say mouses? Y'all excuse that. Mice. Meese. Mises. There's a really good joke. Y'all gotta go look that up about Mises and Mises. Oh man, yeah, but they're too quiet for me, man. Too quiet.
Man, we got time to figure all that out and see how they respond. Look, they got a new coach over there, Harry Lime, and I am excited.
It sounds like a really good drink, don't it?
It does.
Hey, look, I want an Arnold Palmer with a little vodka and get my man's here a Harry Lime.
I like it, man. It sounds like it'd be good. I'm not a big alcohol kind of person myself, but I mean, like I try it. Depending on what's in, I would try it anyway. 27 Sports has released their list, man. Their top skills list, and there's a lot of things here. We can go through a few of these and pick ones we think we agree with, things we don't, that kind of thing. one of the things that stuck out to me immediately was seeing Orland Mock at the top of that perimeter defensive category and JoJo Kearney on top of that interior defensive category. I like both of those
Nailed it.
being there. Yeah, those are ones that I think they absolutely nailed.
Come on through 24/7 Sports.
What about you though, Yels? Any that kind of stick out to you?
I
Or
mean,
you
I
think they got
think
it all
I
right?
think these are pretty on point. The skills that you see on display are right out front. Shot creators, I think that's on point. Post game, everybody keep their eyes tuned into that. I mean, this is over 100 scouts, coaches, and other eyes looking at this that have looked at, they put together what their tops are. I think it's abysmal, abominable, ridiculous. What other words could we use? That Samuel Bogus is not in the top 5 of playmaking. We can say who's up there, and Elias Platt not being in SimWorld Prep. It's a shame that SimWorld Prep fans don't get to see what he's capable of. As far as a playmaker, one of the best out of DC area, Virginia, I think he's from. But Zay Gord, Elias, Dylan Harper, Enzo Benari, I'm not really sure Benari goes up there.
I would move Benari off of that list. I'd
But
move
but
Benari,
I
and
say
I'd
it's
put
because
him on
we
that
know
list.
him so much for scoring. But he was one of the top playmakers in the league last season. So I
Okay.
guess they have their
Yeah.
reasons for saying it. But from a skill set eye test for me, I think Samuel Bogus belongs on that list. The other one that would note real quick for me, Pooley Horse in the pure rebounding. I think he had a game in high school or something where he pulled down 37 rebounds. It's a lot of missed shots, but
My
37
goodness.
rebounds was crazy. And then toughness. I like some of the stuff that they have here intangible wise. Jin Song Ding, he was one of the main reasons APAC got it done last season. Everyone
Yeah.
was looking at offense and everything they were able to do, but he guarded everybody. Steven George was in the middle, but Jin Sung Dang was on the pick and roll. He was out on the perimeter. He was blocking shots. The dude
Yeah.
is tough. I loved it. And then the only other thing that stuck out, and it may be number one for me, I'm looking to see what TYC is going to do. Coaches, y'all can shut me up. Y'all can yell at me. Send me hate mail on the free game. But TYC has 3 of the quickest players in the world at the prep level. Is according to 247. De'Aaron Cruz, Emmanuel Rollins, and Trey Willis have that kind of speed, blazing speed. Last season,
Yeah.
we saw TYC slow the game down. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but those are things that stuck out for me.
Y'all got to get out and run. And like you said, Jin Song Dang was out here doing his best. Chris move impression guarding all 5 players. But hey, we gotta go. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We appreciate you as always. Tomorrow we will have Coach Nick Heesh joining us on the show. Looking forward to getting a chance to talk to him. Guy came in and made some waves. We'll see if we can get him to make some more on the show tomorrow.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys joining us. It's been another great day here in SimWorld today. Tomorrow, like you said, tune in because we got Coach Heesh. Till next time, for B-Ron, I'm Yels. See the game, be the game.
We'll see you on Thursday.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld.